Hello, everyone, and welcome to Collider Movie Talk on this fantastic Friday. My name is Mark Ellis, and on today's show, F. Gary Gray might be directing a new Men in Black movie. Octavia Spencer can pack a theater even more so than Mr. John Rocha, and Super Mario Brothers may be getting to the castle once again. Joining me, look at these fabulous smiling faces. This is the one, the only, the man of 96 friends, John Rocha.
How's it going, everybody? I just found out that Cody was the inspiration for Kingpin, the Farrelly Brothers Kingpin movie. Had no idea he was a massive bowling fan. I'm just trying to get his hair. If he get his hair like that, I want to see it, because God forbid he's the Woody Harrelson character. That would break my heart.
Cody Hall is a young Big Erm McCracken. We found this is breaking news. Is that based on the Twitter poll between who's going to win in a basketball game, either Rocha or Perri? We were talking about maybe having a Collider bowling night. That was brought up by Cody, and we said, "Well, Cody, are you a big bowler?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Do you own a bowling ball?" He said, "No, I own two."
Two. He's got one for the spare and one for the regular pins. My man's amazing.
You guys got his shoes and everything. Perri Nemiroff, how many bowling accoutrements do you own?
I own absolutely nothing. I'm not too bad at bowling, though. But I do like, what was it, Copster's idea of knockout? And, you know, we'll have our one-on-one match, but we need a Collider office round of knockout.
All right, here's your winner, but maybe runner-up could be Mr. Dennis Zen. How do you feel about your odds in basketball?
In basketball, not so good. Bowling, not so good. But at least bowling, you get a drink, right? I mean, basketball, it's a little more dangerous if you go out there drunk.
I wouldn't recommend it unless you're a trained professional. But yes, I've had a few Coors Lights and still managed to play basketball okay. Goes down a little bit easier when it comes to bowling. There was a Twitter poll put up, and I believe Perry's in the lead. Rocha, you brought some pills to work this morning. How the supplements doing?
I'm training, man. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready, Nemiroff. We going down, girl.
You have fun with your vitamin supplements. I'm going to continue going to the gym in the morning. I don't have to worry about my feet or my stamina.
I keep my size. I'm just going to box you out all the way to the rim. That's how it's going to work.
All right, John Rocha versus Perri Nemiroff. We're not sure when that is going to happen, but we know we got a whole lot of movie news to get to. And the first one involves Facebook. Facebook just shut down a Evite that was created in order to encourage fans to downvote Black Panther amongst other movies on Rotten Tomatoes. It was the same Facebook group that took credit for rigging the Rotten Tomatoes audience score of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. They had their sights set on sabotaging the score of the upcoming Marvel film, with threats that they were also planning on doing the same for Solo: A Star Wars Story and Avengers: Infinity War. To quote the moron, "I'll be making events like this for Infinity War and Netflix shows, etc. If you want to spread spoilers to Marvel fanboys, use this event as a platform to inform us of targets." Now, back in December is when this Facebook group first came to prominence. Like we said, they took credit for sabotaging the Last Jedi fan score. I personally don't think that's the only reason that the Last Jedi fan score was that far down. The Huffington Post had responded at that time, and they sent a direct message to the creator, who responded that he was upset with Star Wars producers for introducing more female characters into the franchise, among other things. The story made major headlines, and then, as of this airing, the page and subsequent events to sabotage Black Panther and Solo have been removed from Facebook. So, look, there's a whole lot of unpacking you have to do with a story like this, and usually I don't even like to give things like this the credibility. The reason why it's the lead on Movie Talk today is that it had a lot of votes. It had about 5,000 votes for the Black Panther sabotage as of when it was taken off Facebook. And so when you look at a story like this, there's a lot of questions you have, and you can do one that's on a more superficial fan level where, well, is this just somebody who is a DC fan? They say they're a DC fan. This is not indicative of all DC fans, and if you are a DC fan, you should be just as upset, if not more so, than any Marvel or Star Wars fans that this is happening, because this gives you a bad name as well. People love to be lumped in and say, "I'm a huge DC fan." Is this really what you're wanting to put out there into the world? I know this does not represent a majority of DC fans, and I don't even want to, I want to focus less on that. I want to focus more on the fact that this person who created this Evite considers themselves a member of the alt-right. That's where it starts to get really dangerous. And again, it's one person, and you can say, oh, it's just them having their little hate speech, and that's fine. 5,000 people said that they were in agreement with this thing. That's what scares me, that people may not realize how important your vote actually is, whether it's voting in something that's really major, like a presidential election, or something as ridiculous as a Twitter poll saying who's better at basketball, Rocha and Perri. Your vote counts. So when you click vote, when you say, yes, I like something like this, I'm attending this event, that is you endorsing the message. And here's more of what the message is. I don't like reading stuff like this, and sometimes when you see a news report, I hate when they say the following might be a little sensitive or whatever. The world's scary. People need to know about it. But I will warn you guys that what you're about to hear is incredibly stupid. So this person also said that they are a member of the alt-right group, that Poe Dameron was a victim of the anti-mansplaining movement, and that Poe and Luke Skywalker are in danger of being turned gay, and that men should be reinstated as rulers in society. To quote your hero, Luke Skywalker, amazing, everything in that sentence was wrong. It's all wrong. You're so misguided, and the fact that people like stuff like that is scary. But look, I think that love is stronger than hate, but I think that hate gets a more immediate response. Don't believe me? Go to any YouTube chat room, and you might see more hate than love. For this person in particular, what you need to realize is that movies, yes, they can be enjoyed on a superficial level and escapism, but they also have a deeper meaning. And you may not know that Star Wars was created partially as a response to the Vietnam movement, and that Star Wars isn't just about one white guy saving the galaxy. It's actually a collection of characters that are all different shapes and sizes, and they're all fighting for a common cause. Go see an X-Men movie. That's about people who are freaks, who are outcasts of society, and they're banding together, and the good ones actually want to save humanity in spite of how humanity treats them. So you may go to a movie and say, hey, I just want to be taken away to another world. And to be honest with you, when I put on Tango and Cash, I'm not looking for hardcore political commentary, but it's in there. And so when you watch a movie, you see good guys versus bad guys, but you don't know which side you're on. Perri Nemiroff, you see all of this go down, and does it just hurt your heart? Does it say, I wish that this didn't happen? Or do you think that this is more important of a conversation to have with fans out there who may not know how far down the rabbit hole they're going?
Yeah, seeing stuff like this does break my heart. One, because we've seen it happen for movies that I love. And yes, everyone is entitled to their opinion, and I'm not saying that if you didn't like Last Jedi, or when it comes out, even Black Panther, if you don't like it, you have the right to believe that. My problem with all of this, which seems to be becoming more and more prevalent every day, is folks going out like this and attacking other people for what they love and stripping other people of what they love. And really, the beauty of movies overall is that every movie out there, whether it's a silly animated movie, an epic Star Wars or Marvel or DC movie, anything at all, I will bet you anything, every cent in my wallet, that every movie made out there has at least one fan. Sure. And that movie can make all the difference to that person. So the fact that stuff like this exists is problematic on so many levels, especially when right now we are focusing on a movie like Black Panther that doesn't just have the power to enhance the MCU, but this is a movie with the ability to go beyond that cinematic universe and actually have an impact on someone's life, the way they look at themselves, and also with this industry and making these changes that we have been calling for so often for so many years. A movie like this has the ability to do that. And I don't want to go back to the Rotten Tomatoes argument, but this is a sign that something like that can be manipulated. And I'm not saying that to go out to everybody who voted negatively about Last Jedi and say, no, you're not a real person, you're a bot. And for what it's worth, that was a report, just like this is a report where someone is claiming to have done something. It wasn't a personal opinion. It was stating a report that was out there. And I know that 5,000 is maybe a small section of what, let's say, Last Jedi or ultimately Black Panther's audience score will be comprised of. But this just goes to show that those scores can be manipulated. And yes, Rotten Tomatoes can do the absolute best they can to police that. But there is almost so much policing you can do when the system is built that way, and that is why we do look at things, professional surveys like CinemaScore, and again, CinemaScore is not something that is 100% accurate of every individual out there, but it is something that's done in a small contained place where those votes can be attributed to a certain group of people, whereas with Rotten Tomatoes, this group can go and turn that 5,000 plus people that are part of that Facebook group, they can make multiple accounts, and that's how they can spam something like that. Again, I'm not trying to invalidate anybody's opinion who doesn't like the movies that I like. That's not what this is about. It's just about trying to actually compare critic feelings to fan feelings, because when there is a big difference between the two, that's a worthwhile thing to explore, but we do need to explore it in an educated, positive way.
Yeah, Dennis, I mean, this crosses the line over to hate speech, given what the goal of the event was. So when you see that amount of people that start supporting something like that, it is scary on a very just statistical level that they could have that big of an influence on a Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah, I mean, some people, you know, in the chat room right now, or even on Twitter when I announced this, was like, "Why are you guys covering this?" We're covering it because we're highlighting this stupidity of all these other people. The whole reason that it got taken down was because people saw that there was something so stupid out there. They went to go report it and it got taken down. And I'm with Perri, where it's like, it's not about if you like the movie or dislike the movie. If a Facebook group came out after the movie came out and people legitimately disliked the movie and they want to start a group and talk about what they thought was wrong with the movie, there's nothing wrong with that. None of that should be taken down or be censored. But this is something different. This is a preemptive attack saying, hey, we haven't even seen the movie yet. We already dislike it. And that's why I always talk about IMDb ratings, the fan ratings on that. Don't buy them at all. You can vote on it. There's no verification that you've seen the movie. Movie hasn't even come out yet. You can still vote on how, on the rating of it. So this is, the main guy who did this, the people signing up. You say there's 5,000 people are going, oh, that's only a few. That's only for now. I guarantee you if this group had still been up, by the time Black Panther came out, it'd be much, much bigger. I think it's, the guy who started is just a loser, crybaby. Wasting his time. On the other side note, it is not all DC fans. Another DC fan group I read to go against this after hearing this news, they decided to start raising money to send people to go see Marvel's Black Panther. And this is a DC fan group. So not all DC fans are like this crazy guy.
Yeah, see, now that's what I feel and what I hope is indicative of most DC fans and most Marvel fans for that matter, if they would do something that would encourage people to go see a movie like Wonder Woman or Justice League. Because if you go see a comic book movie, you're really helping all comic book movies. One, it can raise all ships, Rocha. Now, you coined a phrase yesterday, or you invoked a phrase when you and Riley were breaking this story on Collider News, that this goes into the depth of online or cyber terrorism.
That's essentially what it is. This is online terrorism. Why? Because you're getting a group of people to purposely torpedo or harm a product or harm something, and that's what you're doing. You get them all together, and as you said earlier, over 5,000 people is the reported number that signed up for this. 5,000 people thought this would be a good idea. A film that's going to come out, it's going to be positive about uplifting African Americans, African people, black people around the world, show them an incredible way to be viewed, finally representation on screen, something really important for a large section of this world that has not been represented in the superhero genre in this way. And you are so caught up in this, this conspiracy theory in your mind that somehow the critics have been paid. Everything else, you create these massively insane conspiracies instead of looking at what the fact is that some people just didn't like these movies en masse. And that's okay, because since the dawn of film, there have been people who have not liked movies. It has not been a conspiracy. People aren't paid not to like them. They go, they have their taste developed, and they don't like them, and that's it. You move on, ask for better. That's what you do, because this is just an extension of the small penis syndrome. That's what it is. And I'm so tired of seeing it, and I'm so tired of us just having to tiptoe around this thing, because you don't lose fans, or some people don't want to see the, I want to keep all my fans, I want to keep all my followers. Well, F that. You got to make a stand somewhere in this world. And this is where you make stands. This is a situation where you can make a stand and say, this kind of crap can't keep going on because you feel inadequate because the world is changing and you can't handle it. That's right. Women are being represented. People of color are being represented. Deal with it. Grow the F up. Look down there and see if you got a sack and grow up. That's what this is about. And I'm so sick of them using these smarmy little tactics to try to prove they have some kind of power in the world because they can't feel like they get all this privilege like they used to anymore. Grow up. Things aren't going to be handed to you anymore. You can't sit around on your couch waiting for everything to hand it to you because you're white or you're a certain way or your political beliefs a certain way. You got to get up off your couch and deal with the changes in the world and move on. This is not how you do it. Torpedoing a film important like this is not how you go about it. And I respect what Dennis said, that there's another group that is going about it in a more positive way. That's how you counteract this kind of stuff, is you go at the extra level. And so in a way, this is maybe a good thing that can happen because of the reaction from people. Rotten Tomatoes are going to be more stringent about this kind of stuff, make these changes. I read their statement here. Our team of security, network, and social experts continue to closely monitor our platforms and any users who engage in such activities. And I also think we have to give Rotten Tomatoes a little bit of a break because they're kind of figuring this out as it goes along, because who anticipated that fans would turn something like this and make it so negative? That's what breaks my heart, because we all love doing this, you know? And this kind of stuff has the danger of popping the bubble that we all love to do, because studios will get more and more afraid to invest millions and millions of dollars in property if they're going to be torpedoed by these fringe groups who are going to come in with their terrorist tactics and cost box office dollars to these movies. They're going to and so we're going to get less and less quality movies. So all this tentacles that spread out from all this, and Mark is right to bring up, this guy's an alt-right person. That mentality of trying to destroy these things because it's as if turning gay is a bad, like you can turn gay and it's somehow negative to be turned gay. Oh my God, it's so negative. Or women are being represented. I hate it, the mansplaining, blah, 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 blah. Grow the F up, change, learn, and listen. That's what it's about now. Listening. You've been talking for centuries. Sit back a little bit and listen. And that's what drives me nuts about this kind of stuff.
Well said to the entire panel. And I'm seeing some comments, a lot of people agreeing with us, thanking us for talking about this on a show that is called Movie Talk. And then there's some people saying that we should just move on to the next topic. So in that vein, I'm going to keep talking about it for a little bit. The freedom of speech thing is something that comes up. Well, doesn't everybody have freedom of speech? Can't they say whatever they want? Yes. We live in a country that hopes to be great. And one of the reasons why we have the potential to be great is because freedom of speech, freedom of belief, to practice whatever religion you want. However, in the same way that you have the freedom of speech to say whatever you want, other people have the freedom to see themselves represented on screen just like you have your entire life. So when a movie like Black Panther comes out and a whole group of people get to see themselves in a way they've never been able to experience it before, that's a very special moment. And for anybody, alt-right or no, to try to take that away from someone, that goes to the level of hate speech, and that should be moderated, because if we do not learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. And throughout history, you'll see a littering of hate speech, and that it turns into something that's a lot more than just speech. It turns into violence. That's why we hope our leaders do not use hate speech, because that can incense riots, that can incense violence. So I encourage anybody out there who's in any position of power to see stories like this, to ingest stories like this, and realize that there is right and wrong. Like I said before, there's good guys and there's bad guys in movies. Know which side you're on. Somebody who is clearly on the right side of the Black Panther movement is none other than Academy Award winning actress Octavia Spencer. She pulled a Rocha, as we like to say, and bought out an entire movie theater, actually a few of them in Mississippi, so that people could go see the movie Black Panther. Miss Spencer took to her Instagram account to announce that she's planning to buy out a movie theater in Mississippi, so underserved communities, can go see the movie in Mississippi. The actress plans on being there the weekend of February 16th, and she wrote on her Instagram account, "I will be in Mississippi when this movie opens. I think I will buy out a theater in an underserved community there to ensure that all our brown children can see themselves as a superhero. I will let you know when and where, Mississippi. Stay tuned. Hashtag Kings and Queens will rise." Now, Rocha, I know that you are not feeling any jealousy because Octavia Spencer trying to steal your thunder and pack a theater more so than you and all of your friends can. This is a pretty cool thing to do.
Once again, this is all connected, and I think it's a very positive step from her. And also, reports came out about a week or so ago of Jessica Chastain getting her more money for her role in the next film that they're working on together. And that's empowering, and that's great. And what she's doing with the money, paying it forward by bringing these kids in to see this film, to give them some pride, give them some love. You know, in those communities, sometimes you want to see positive role models. You want to see positive things, you know, and so they don't slide into these easier ways out, which are drugs or crime or being violent or those kinds of things. And it happens in all communities, regardless of color, all communities. So you want to give them positive role models. model. So something like this, I think, is so great for her to do. It sends a great message, and I hope more people do this. I hope more black actors, black actresses buy out theaters and use their money in a positive way, because you never know who's going to come see that and be the next Ryan Coogler, be the next Michael B. Jordan, because someone did something like that. It showed them something on screen they may not have been able to afford to go to see, or maybe didn't think about seeing, and then it changes their lives. And they may see something on screen that gives them pride and pushes them forward through a very tough situation and then into the next day, and believing and possibly having some hope. And damn, that's a good thing to put in the world.
Yeah, and Dennis, on the micro level, this is one theater in an underserved community that's going to get to experience Black Panther. On a macro level, people see this story and it gets the name Black Panther out there more, and it gets more awareness that this movie is coming out and what weekend it's being released. So I think that this will have a positive impact on the overall box office of Black Panther, not just in Mississippi.
Yeah, I like you, when I first read it, thought it said undeserved. I was like, underserved.
Got to talk to my speechwriters.
Octavia Spencer did something similar for Hidden Figures, which is a movie she was in. That was here in LA, but this is a movie she is not involved with, and I think that's great. And this movie is very important, much like Wonder Woman last year. Look, I've been on record telling I thought Wonder Woman was a good movie. I didn't think it was a great movie, but no one can deny the cultural significance of Wonder Woman. And Black Panther is going to be the same thing this year. And I think what she's doing, I think, what we were talking before with the DC fan group doing that as well. I think that stuff is important. I think that's positive things that we can look at.
Perri Nemiroff, you see something like this, it gives you all the feels in the right way.
It really does. It just made me so happy, especially after the previous story we just covered, because this is a perfect example of someone taking the wonderful things that they've earned through their career and then spreading love and good through it. Because Dennis brought up the Hidden Figures thing. When she did that, other stars followed suit. So she is setting an example, and it just goes to show when you do something good like this, it can spread. And speaking of that, another thing Dennis brought up in the previous story, that campaign to get more theaters, more people to get involved with something like this. The guy who started that was named Frederick Joseph, and he's doing it in the Bronx. But if you go on Twitter right now, there's a hashtag Black Panther Challenge, and I've seen so many people that I know right now just jumping in and donating, and
that's awesome.
I mean, really, this is what happens. One person thinks about something good to do, and then it catches on. And with a movie like Black Panther, we're not allowed to say what we thought in a review format, but I'll repeat what I said on my Twitter post. I walked out of that movie, and I said it to you too, just filled with like happiness and hope. And to get more people to see that, I don't care what you look like, that is something that's going to bring something good to your life.
And I don't know if anybody saw this, but Variety reported that Black Panther, now it's tracking closer to $150 million. I wonder who predicted that. Look, this has been a really great episode of Movie Talk thus far, in my opinion, simply because we get to talk about some real issues that are crossing over into the world of cinema, and it's not all about whether the Han Solo trailer is going to drop this week or not. There's some serious stuff going on in the world, and I like that we get to tackle topics like that. The only issue I would have with it is that everybody pretty much agree with each other on the first topic, and we pretty much agree with each other on the second topic. But don't worry, there's a segment for that's going to fix everything, called Agree or Disagree. And the first topic we're talking about, it may get a little steamy in here. That's because Nintendo announced yesterday that it is partnering up with Universal Pictures' Illumination Entertainment to develop a Super Mario Brothers movie. Confirming earlier reports that a movie is in the works, details at this time are slim, but the film will be based on the world of Super Mario Brothers and will star Mario as the main character. No word on whether he will actually be named Mario like he was in the live-action movie starring Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. The animation powerhouse behind box office hits like Despicable Me, Secret Life of Pets, and Tzeng will be co-financing with Universal Pictures and Nintendo, and Universal will distribute the movie theatrically. The release date has yet to be determined. We got to the castle, Dennis. We finally have another Super Mario Brothers movie in the works. Is this a good idea for Illumination and Universal?
Yes, it's a good idea because Mario is one of the most recognizable video game characters of all time. The only thing people remember him in the movie space is the very not good live action film with Bob Hoskins. Illumination is a good choice because they've been killing it lately. If you look at the numbers of their last few movies, you had We had Despicable Me 3, $80 million budget, made over $1 billion worldwide. Sing, $75 million, $630 million. Secret Life of Pets, $75 million budget, $875 million. Minions, over $1 billion. Like, they're killing it at the box office. They're not putting that much money in, relatively. I mean, it's a lot of money, but compared to what they're getting in return, you take a property like Mario Brothers and Nintendo and put that together, I think that's a good match.
Yeah, Perri, if you're going to look at the metaphorical flagpole, how high is this Mario movie going to jump on it? Is it getting all the way up to $5,000, or do you think it's going to miss the mark?
I like that. So when I first heard this story, because I'm a big Mario Brothers fan, and all right, I'm not going to say that movie is a good movie, but
Perri Nemiroff.
She just watches it every night before.
Every
night before she goes to sleep.
I was a certain age when that movie came out.
What, embryo?
I was very into the games, and that movie came out, and obviously watching it when you get older, you see how truly shitty it is, but I'm not going to lie to you and say that at a point in my life, that movie didn't bring joy to my day. So with that, when I first heard that Illumination of all animation studios were handling this, I'm like, I wouldn't mind something with maybe a little more depth than I've seen in other Illumination movies. But then, actually, just when that graphic came up right now, I mean, look at that graphic, because look at how well that type of animation fits next to a minion. So I'm starting to think that the style of animation might actually suit Illumination very well. And even though I don't think, let's say, Sing and the Despicable Me movies, and even Secret Life of Pets for that matter, which I really enjoyed, I don't think they have the depth of, let's say, a Pixar movie or a Laika movie, but there's no denying, based on those numbers, and also based on what I've heard and how they make me feel too, that they do have wide appeal. They are wide appeal movies that are highly enjoyable, and they also, almost all of them, at least that I can think of off the top of my head, send a positive message, which I think is part of the reason why I've come to really appreciate Illumination, especially Sing. Because Sing, I walked into, I'm like, oh, it's going to be silly, like animals singing, I don't want any of that. And really, by the end of it, it made me feel really good. And I think they're very simple messages that the youngest of moviegoers can digest, but some of them also are worthwhile for adults to hear, even if you've heard it time and time again. Sometimes just having that put in your face makes you feel good.
Yeah, and before I turn it over to the mechanical bull rider, I do want to say, look, Perri, it was not an easy thing what you just did. To admit that you, at one point in your life, enjoyed the 93 Super Mario Brothers. Misguided though you may be, I think you're very brave for telling an entire nation and indeed the world.
I did really think about that before I actually said it, but I would never lie about my feeling about any movie out there, no matter how embarrassing it is. And 93, I was very little.
I like how you didn't swear in the first topic, but you swore on the Mario Brothers topic.
Yeah.
All right, the floor is yours, cowboy. You seem to disagree with the rest of the panel on this one.
Mark Ellis, I don't understand you. She's brave for talking. Like, I talk about Transformers all the time. No one ever calls me brave.
No, you're not.
It's ridiculous. Listen, you guys, this is what's called fake news. You guys are only picking out certain times. Did you forget Hop? That was a terrible movie that Illumination Entertainment did. Did you forget Despicable Me 3 got terrible reviews? And The Lorax is at a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. They do not knock it out of the park every time. And if you...
At the box office, they do.
No, well, sure. All right, then Transformers.
No, but I'm talking about.
But I'm saying to you, yeah.
No, I'm just talking about the deal between Mario and Illumination.
Yeah, but
why
I'm
it makes
talking about
sense.
The box office is also out of the equation too. Again, when you look at last night,
we haven't seen the movie yet. We haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, I saw it the first time, and it was Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins. What do I need to see that crap again? This stuff is a great video game. Why are you going to sully it by once again? And you're going to have the race. You're going to, I'm a Luigi. I'm going to make it a pizza. You're going to have that? Like, I don't want to see that. That's racist now. We don't do that anymore. So it'd be stupid to do that.
I think racist is a strong term.
Well, either way, like Apu in The Simpsons, that's turning now. People don't want to see people doing these stereotypical accents, and that's what you're going to get in this film.
Are you sure that's what? Are you sure that right now they're casting? You're saying we need the whitest guy possible to do the worst Italian accent.
I'm saying it's possible, and I don't want to create a possibility of that. And I just don't. I mean, I think this is a fun video game with what Princess Peach or whatever.
Peach.
Yeah.
Princess Peach, and him and his brother. But what are you gonna do here? Like, video game is fun. Like Switch, was it Switch? Everyone was like buying the game on like it's great. The game is fantastic. People love the game. But doesn't lend itself to a movie
They
and
love
this
the
narrative
games.
and story.
There's multiple. There's
I know
dozens
how
of
to
Mario
settle
games.
this.
Fine franchise.
After we're done with our basketball match, I
Sure.
think we should do a Mario Kart match.
A Mario Kart match?
Yeah.
No.
See, look.
I refuse to play such a ridiculous game.
Okay.
Oh my!
Now you're calling the
Well, now
games
you're
ridiculous
tagging the
too?
games.
Yeah. You really don't think that there's an environment that could be conducive to a Super Mario Brothers anime? I am all for
You're
never
asking
seeing
me-
another live action iteration of Mario
there we
again.
go.
But an animated Super Mario Brothers movie in the same style that you got with Minions,
I'm not-
with Despicable Me 3, you could have, let's just pretend that they don't go full Italian with the voices
Okay.
if it's not an Italian-American
So
actor or an
nuanced
Italian actor
performances.
doing
Okay.
it. Let's just say that they do have some progressive bones in their body,
Okay.
and they don't sound like they're just doing a stereotypical accent, that we actually can have a solid adventure in the animated world. I think that there's so much potential here, and I'll even say that I've never said this before. Yoshi, you're invited to the movie. I hate using Yoshi in the video games.
Wow.
Back in my day, we didn't need any dinosaurs to carry us over anything. We could save the princess all on our own. That dinosaur is useless in the video games, but
Oh,
I'm cool with
hot
Yoshi
take.
being in
Hot
the movie.
take. Anthropomorphic dinosaur. That's a hot take.
Very scorching hot take for me.
Look, the potential you're saying, yes, potential for anything. That's no argument. To me, it's the situation that they already tried it, they failed at it. They've had
What was it,
they've had
80s or
failures.
something? Like-
They've had failures in their past. Illumination Entertainment has. So this doesn't excite me because this is well-tread ground. I'd rather see something original, something animated that's original. I like Tzeng. Tzeng was great. What
I
original thing
figured
to
you
take
would
an
like
American
Tzeng.
Idol voice type thing and turn it into and get these cute characters. Reese did great job voiceover work there, and so I liked that movie. I liked their original stuff, but like I didn't like Lorax because it was off the doc. I don't think any Dr. Seuss should be adopted, and this I just don't think this is gonna make me excited.
Watch, when it comes out, it's going to be Roka's #1 movie of the year.
Yeah, it's a number one.
Oh
no,
boy,
I
we're
don't like
sorry,
it.
Rocha, but your princess is in another castle.
Hey,
we're gonna move on to Men in Black possibly getting a spin-off film that could be directed by F. Gary Gray. You heard us correctly. Deadline is reporting that the Straight Outta Compton and Fate of the Furious director is in negotiations to direct a new Men in Black film that will relaunch the franchise for Sony and Amblin Entertainment. The studio has been trying to crack a new series of films after the original pairing of Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith ended its run after the 2012 third installment. Deadline describes the movie as a spin-off grounded in the original premise of a covert force policing the alien population hiding on Earth, with Sony and Amblin wanting to cast new actors, much in the same way Spielberg did with Jurassic World. Sony has set the movie for a release date of June 14th, 2019. So, Dennis, we need to get this movie going pretty quickly if it's going to come out next summer. F. Gary Gray, do you like the choice for a new Men in Black?
I mean, I like F. Gary Gray as a director. I mean, Straight Outta Compton was really good. I mean, he's done other movies like The Negotiated Italian Job. Even Fate of the Furious, while not the best Furious movie, Fast and Furious movie, it had entertaining value to it. Though the Men in Black franchise, I'm just not that into. I liked the first one, but the second one was very forgettable, and I didn't even bother watching the third one. It's just not a franchise I want to revisit. However, I do have some casting choices if they decided to go and reboot it again and try and do the same dynamic again. I'd like to see Michael B. Jordan and Michael Shannon in the same roles.
Ooh, okay. I like where you're going with that. I could definitely see Michael Shannon being the gruff older of the two, and then Michael B. Jordan coming in with some positivity to this world. I'm with Dennis that I did not like Men in Black 2 or Men in Black 3. I actually hated Men in Black 3, but I will totally disagree that we don't want to go back to this world. There is so much to explore in a Men in Black universe with aliens hiding on Earth. It seemed like, Perri, they just kept going for this huge intergalactic implications. The world's going to end, and I don't really need all of that. Can't we just have a fun, smaller scope adventure with aliens being on Earth and trying to police that appropriately?
That is always what appealed to me about these movies was, well, one, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones together at the very beginning, but also just the world building and the Men in Black as an organization and digging into that and maybe all the different levels of the facilities.
Yeah, the little guy's making coffee.
Yeah, but really, it's those little elements that kind of give the film atmosphere and really suck you in and make you want to exist in that workplace for a while. So, I've been pretty lukewarm about this. The only thing that really piqued my interest really is when they talked about combining it with 21 Jump Street, just because that seemed like it was something so out of left field, and I thought it could really spice it up a little. I would say that F. Gary Gray does make it more appealing to me, but I don't know. It's not that I don't want it, because I think the world is still worthwhile on the big screen, but that third one really left a bad taste in my mouth. And really with F. Gary Gray, I didn't really like Fate of the Furious. And I know just because I didn't like that movie doesn't mean he's not a talented director all of a sudden, but I still haven't heard anything about this spin-off that really piques my interest to the point that it's a highly anticipated movie for me.
Was either of y'all's interest piqued when we had that story that they were looking at possibly combining universes with 21 Jump Street and Men in Black? Because I might have been in the minority. I thought that was a terrific idea that was very low risk for the future of both franchises, because if the movie doesn't work out, oh well, now the 24 Jump Street can just make fun of how bad that was, and Men in Black, well, you weren't getting a Men in Black anyway. That's the version I wanted, but I would also accept this.
That was exactly the way I reacted. The second that happened, I'm like, oh, you're going to dig into new territory. I'm all for it. And then the second that went away, then it's just another Men in Black movie. So the moment they cast, that could mean something different, because if they cast Michael B. Jordan and Michael Shannon, you can have all of my money. That pairing sounds so brilliant to me. So if next week we get casting information on this and it's a duo like that, then I might be on board.
Okay, so Rocha, it looks like the excitement level of Men in Black for Perri and Dennis went from to F. Gary Gray. They're listening to, they really need to hear what the casting is before they're going to get on board. I'm already on the ship. Where are you?
I'm piloting the ship. I love this idea, and I'm skipping all the icebergs. I think we're going to be fine. F. Gary Gray is a great director. Step in. I love.
Sure, that's what they said on Titanic.
Yeah. Well, that was the illusion. What's wrong with you? I loved Fate of the Furious. I enjoyed, because I didn't like the last two installments. I really like that. I mean, going in the snow in a submarine, sure, why not? It's crazy. I love it. Men in Black 3 actually has some really sweet moments with Josh Brolin and Alice Eve and stuff with Will Smith going back in time and seeing his father. Like, there were some sweet, and Michael Stuhlbarg does a great job in that movie. So people need to give Men in Black 3 a little more of a shot. Men in Black 2 was not that good. 1 and 3 are okay. 1 is definitely good. So I will say this. I'm excited about this because F. Gary Gray has a way of bringing these things into port that works. You know, we saw that with Straight Outta Compton. What an incredibly new type of biopic to do. And you know I love biopics. And like I said, Fate was great. But also, I love this idea of the casting. I did some casting too. I had Michael B. Shannon, but I had him with Tiffany Haddish.
You had Michael B. Shannon?
Yeah.
Wow, you made an amalgamation of two characters?
Sorry.
That's incredible.
sorry. Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon. Michael.
Oh, wow.
Hey, the Beast with Two Heads. That'd be great.
Yeah, just make it one.
Michael Shannon with Tiffany Haddish, I thought that'd be fun. Kate Blanchett with Michael B. Jordan, I thought would be interesting. And also The Rock and Kevin Hart again. Why not? That's another way to get me on board, sell it. Sony, Jumanji, it all fits in. They could definitely do the switch to put them on something like Men in Black if you're going to stay with Men in Black.
Okay, I just became your co-pilot because the Tiffany Haddish call.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
She's hot right now. Her and Shannon would be great chemistry.
I'm okay. Now I'm really big on that idea. And look, one of the things that I hate the most about Men in Black 3, which is a lot of them, was Michael Stuhlbarg's performance as the Griff. That's one of my most hated movie characters in recent memory. I thought it was just so annoying and off-putting. But, because of what Michael Stuhlbarg has done this year for me and indeed the world, I can cast Michael Stuhlbarg in like the Rip Torn character the original Men in Black, where he's kind of overseeing everything. Somebody else who I think would be really good in that would be J.K. Simmons. I think he'd be just like the fast-talking, here's your mission, you all go out on it and fix this alien thing. We just don't need it to be Earth's going to be blowing up. It can be smaller, but F. Gary Gray, if you look at Fate of the Furious, there's a tendency to go big with this. So I'm on board with it right now. I would have liked to have seen a 21 Jump Street crossover. We'll see how it shakes out. But either way, we might get a Men in Black movie sooner rather than later. Our next flick is about Leonardo DiCaprio and Da Vinci. They might be hanging out together. Leonardo DiCaprio has been wanting to play Leonardo da Vinci for a while now, and it looks like it could come to pass because Deadline is reporting that Appian Way has tapped the Oscar-nominated screenwriter of Skyfall and The Aviator, John Logan, to write the script for a Da Vinci movie based on Walter Isaacson's biography, Leonardo da Vinci. The idea that Logan will be working on the script for the Da Vinci movie while DiCaprio is filming Tarantino's new Manson project could come to pass because a release date has not been targeted at this time, but Leonardo DiCaprio playing Leonardo da Vinci is interesting. Do you think that they found the right screenwriter?
Yeah, I think they did, absolutely. And Logan has done such great. I mean, Skyfall, I know people are going to give Spectre some kind of crap, but the script is not the issue with that movie. There's other things that might be an issue with that movie, but he does great work. And Logan he's a playwright. He made his bones in Chicago, and he's a guy who just writes. I read a 2015 interview with him in Vanity Fair, and he talks about his process. Lives in Malibu, wakes up, writes till the sun goes down, or hikes. He does not go out to parties or anything like that. The man loves what he does, and he's focused on it. So I like this idea. Plus, Walter Isaacson, he writes some of the best biographies to date. If you haven't read his Ben Franklin biography, his Einstein biography, his Jobs biography, you're missing out. He really does get into these characters, explores this, and with the Da Vinci biography he wrote, it's based on Da Vinci's journals, and then also exploring. He was a rebel, he was a vegetarian, he was vegan, he was gay, he was a heretic. Like, all this stuff was going on. So this is so in DiCaprio's wheelhouse to play these kind of characters that are against the establishment, that push, that get emotional, like what he did with Aviator. Great stuff there. We've seen him play dark, we've seen him play evil, we've seen him play good. So this would be such a great thing for him to sink into. Plus, I think it's Circle, obviously, because we hear that the legend, what he says is he was named Leonardo because his mom looked at a Da Vinci painting and he kicked for the first time, and that's why she named him Leonardo. So there's a lot of this that could work out really, really well.
I was named Mark because Mark comes from Mars, the god of war, and clearly... Dennis, Leonardo DiCaprio playing this. Do you agree with Rocha? This could be a Oscar-type role for Leonardo DiCaprio.
I mean, it's possible. Anything he does usually is of Oscar caliber. I mean, I would probably be more interested if he was playing Leonardo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my God.
That's what we all
instead.
want.
Oh my God.
But getting John Logan on board, I think is good. He has a pretty good track record. I mean, yeah, he has some stuff here and there that's like, he did Alien Covenant, Spectre, Skyfall, Hugo, Aviator, Last Samurai, Star Trek Nemesis, Gladiator, Any Given Sunday. So for the most part, he's done some pretty good work. So I'm excited. Anything Leonardo DiCaprio does, I will be watching.
Yeah, Perri, do you agree with that Leonardo DiCaprio can do no wrong in your book, and that whatever historical figure he wants to play, he could probably do a damn good job?
Yeah, I would actually probably say that about him, and mainly because of what I've seen him do, especially recently. I mean, he is really on his game. And with something like this, there's still no guarantee it's going to happen. It's in the very early stages. And if he's that passionate about it right now, and he's got his production company, all the power to him. Go explore it, develop it until you decide whether or not to give it a green light. I will admit, though, when I hear a Leonardo da Vinci movie, I don't really know what about it piques my interest. And I was trying to, while we were all talking, I was trying to figure out what the last biopic was. There was something that we were talking about recently where it's an incredible person in history, but the way that the article had presented it, they just honed in on a specific part of that person's life. And I vividly remember it was that person, but also how they interact with another person in their life. And I think the problem I'm having with this right now is that, I mean, that is the synopsis of the biography that the movie is based on it's epic. It's his life. And I want to know specifically what is the driving force behind this movie? Because you named very interesting characteristics about him. What exactly is this about? What story are we trying to tell?
What should be the story?
I think we have your new audiobook that you're going to listen to on your flight to New York is Walter Isaacson's. Oh, I see. Real people are a problem for Perri. But Dr. Sleep's okay.
Because Dr. Sleep is incredible. At least let me finish Dr. Sleep first.
Okay, we'll finish Dr. Sleep and then jump onto this. No, there's a section of his life, and of course, at DiCaprio's age, I think they're going to tackle that section when he confronts all the stuff that he goes against the church, and he's going to create this stuff, and he has to go toe-to-toe with them, and is he going to be allowed to do what he's going to do, and what he's going to create, And so I think that's the section of his life they're going to tackle, and all the stuff that he creates here is incredible. So I think, Perri, after the basketball game and I beat you, we'll go to the museum, and you can see some of the Da Vinci stuff, and then maybe that'll inspire you more.
That sounds like a fun day.
That's a solid bet.
Leonardo DiCaprio, listen to all the stuff he did. So he was obviously the acclaimed artist. He also pursued studies of anatomy, fossils, birds, the heart, flying machines, botany, geology, and weaponry. That was one guy doing that. I make a career out of telling poop jokes. Our next story, in agree or disagree, is about, and it's our last one, sadly. It's the week of trailer, and it could be a fun movie. It's got Adam Sandler and Chris Rock in it. It is on Netflix soon. It's the latest collaboration between the streaming service and Adam Sandler. It's the directorial debut of Robert Smigel. If you don't know who that is, he is best known as a writer on Saturday Night Live and the voice of Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. He co-wrote the movie as well with Adam Sandler. The movie tells the story of two very different fathers who come together to celebrate the wedding of their children. Chris Rock plays the other father. It will be released on Netflix on April 27th. Watching this trailer, I loved it for parts of it. And then the other part, I got a little nervous that this was just going to be another Adam Sandler movie with a lot of famous people cameos and ridiculous, zany, over-the-top stuff. But the moments between Rock and Sandler, when they're driving, that's the movie I want to see. Sure, I want to see the wedding, and I want to see how it all plays out, and I want to see the relationship between Sandler's daughter and Rock's son. I want to see all that stuff play out. But Adam Sandler and Chris Rock, please, 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 do not skimp on that relationship, because those two guys, they've known each other for a long time. They're really good buddies. I want to see how that relationship plays, because I felt like I was watching comedians in cars getting coffee, but except without all the really fast-paced editing. I want to see some long scenes. I could be on a road trip with those two for 90 minutes. That's not the movie we're going to get. Is that the movie you want to see?
Well, I agree with you to a degree. All the parts are here. I love Robert Smigel. Sandler, when he gets it right, he gets it right. The Meyerowitz stories, it was really good, actually, you know, and considering coming off that Sandy Wexler stuff, I didn't have a lot of hope for it. But I liked it. And so this, I wanted to like it more than I did. I think a lot of stuff didn't work for me, but I like their chemistry. And I like that it's about an interracial marriage, which I love, that end shot. Plus you get a little Rachel Dratch action, who doesn't work enough. And I love Rachel Dratch in there. And so I hope it's going to focus on their relationship a bit more. We get more of that chemistry. Steve Buscemi's in this thing. And yeah, I don't want to, and it does feel, which is what I'm afraid of, let's get all our friends together and do this movie.
Well, that's the stench that I worry about,
right,
because Adam Sandler movies like recently have done things like that.
Yeah, and I think that's his easy way out of this. So I didn't. We're talking about the trailer. I didn't like the trailer overall, but I have hope that there's a funny movie in here somewhere, and because of Smigel and because of Sandler and Rock. And Rock, how does he get younger? How is this happening? He looks like he's the one getting married, not the father. It's incredible. So
Perri, I mean, look, I sympathize with Rocha's concerns, and I have some of those myself, because Adam Sandler's recent work, particularly the movies that have already been out on Netflix, they're just they seem like they're cashing in on Adam Sandler being famous, and the comedy hasn't really been mined appropriately. It's just kind of there. It's more grown-ups or whatever those movies are than it is anything that has any substance and laughs to it. What's your read on this movie?
I was really pleasantly surprised by this, and I haven't seen any of the movies that came out through his Netflix deal. I did Blended and Pixels, and then I tapped out. I had enough. Yeah. So I haven't seen the first three in this deal, and this one apparently is the fourth one that's going to conclude the first iteration of his arrangement with Netflix. But, I really did expect to turn this on and get a whole bunch of nonsense like grown-ups and all that stuff that was just so painfully unfunny, and very clearly to me what you guys said, him getting together with his friends and screwing around and just making money with a movie. This felt different, though, and not just because the stuff with him and Chris Rock at the beginning in the car. I do like the feel of that. It feels so drastically different from anything else I've seen him do. But even when they get to the montage stuff where you're seeing all these other people, there was something about getting a montage paired with that song coming after that quieter moment in the car that it gave it like a warmth to me, like a warm family, like a fun-loving kind of feel, rather than, oh, let's just like do something silly and have someone fall down or poop and make everyone laugh. So I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about this one.
I mean, sometimes the falling down and poop is funny. Dennis, do you think that this is going to be a comeback vehicle for Adam Sandler, or it's just going to be a blip on the Netflix radar, then we move on to something else?
Well, I'm hoping. What number movie of the deal is it?
Four out of four? But the deal was re-upped.
Okay, well,
so there's more.
I'm hoping maybe this run, like he didn't try in the last three, and that he saved all of his energy for this one. I love classic Adam Sandler and Punch Drunk. Love Adam Sandler. Yeah. Not so much recent stuff. Love Chris Rock. I mean, yeah, when I first saw it, I thought it was a new episode of comedians in cars getting coffee, except for that Adam Sandler was the host now. it looks like this movie was shot for like a few $100s. I mean, not just the stuff in the car, but even all the other wedding stuff is shot kind of more documentary video
with the little
style.
Soderbergh iPhone.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's on an iPhone. So I'm hoping that's a good aesthetic choice that you use, and then maybe there's something deeper in the movie that maybe they're not showing yet that we can see. So I'm hesitant because of what has come before, but I'm like slightly optimistic for it.
Yeah, me too. So we'll see what happens with that. I still am of the belief that Adam Sandler, I root for the people that I root for, you know? So Adam Sandler's a guy that I always pull for because I love his earlier work. Like, I think that pinnacle Adam Sandler is Big Daddy Adam Sandler. Does anybody agree with me that he could actually get back to that place, or do you think that ship has sailed?
That's tough, man. I mean, look at Eddie. Eddie had some of the greatest comedy.
Well, I also agree Eddie Murphy can get back to that.
I don't know if he can. It's been like 2 decades, man. I mean, we haven't seen him do something that funny in 2 decades.
Tower Heist, there were moments.
Oh, moments?
There were moments.
It was a different time and a different style of comedy.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite Adam Sandler movie ever, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time, is Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I love every second of that movie. But I go back to, because we were also talking about Ace Ventura earlier, and it's like that Jim Carrey style and that Adam Sandler style, that was like early to mid 90s. It was at its peak, and you know, there's still a lot of similarities. I think it's evolved with them being the past basis for it, but we're in a different time, and I think even if he released a movie that was Billy Madison-like and of the same quality, I don't know if it would be received the same way.
Would you want to see a 50-year-old man doing that kind of stuff? That's the thing.
If they ever did a Billy Madison sequel...
Don't say anything else.
I mean, you know, it's 50's the new 30, right? You can get away with some of that stuff.
I would watch a Billy Madison sequel.
What?
I would.
If he's the dad?
Okay, if they ever did announce that, there would be a major red flag that goes up for a quick second that said to me, oh shit, this is a cash grab. They're going to ruin one of my... Does the S word fall on that guy? Whatever. So if that happened, red flag, I'd be worried that they were trying to make money off of something that worked really well for me and I still love. But I also would never be able to say no to a grown-up Billy Madison trying to get his kid through school.
Yes, I will go back to school. We're going to remind you guys at the end of the show, we're going to save time for one of your live Twitter questions. You can tweet us at Collider Video. Subscribe right here to Collider Video's YouTube channel for all of the latest vids we have up. All new Jedi Council went up yesterday. Today we have the movie Trivia Schmodown. Season 5 debuts with a triple threat match. Rachel Cushing versus Mike Kalinowski versus JTE. The winner gets a shot at the title coming up soon. So make sure you all check that out. Sorry you're not involved in that particular matchup. I know you're dying to compete soon. We also just launched a Patreon for the movie Trivia Schmodown. So check out our Patreon right now and see which tier is best for you. Whole lot of extra goodies that you guys can check out right now. Also, Collider recently did an IMAX screening of The Last Jedi, and they did a Q&A with Ryan Johnson, hosted by our own Stephen Frosty Weintraub. Some of that Q&A is up on Collider.com right now, and we'll have more of it up later on this week. Like I said, we're going to quickly do one live Twitter question, and our Twitter questioner today is Crystal Guapo at Markel. Says, what Sundance movie is on your radar? So the Sundance Film Festival happened in Park City, Utah, as it does every year. Just came to pass. People are now coming back from Sundance. They're raving about a whole lot of stuff. And this is really just me talking while everybody else on their computer can quickly Google Sundance movies so they can kill some time and then find out what their favorite one is. So I get to go first because I did not have the luxury that y'all did. And I'm going to pick what I usually get excited coming out of Sundance is not the cinematic narrative storytelling that's an original thing or it's something else that like it's a movie and it's a fictional movie. I want to see documentaries. I like documentaries, and I hear there's some really good ones coming out of Sundance. The one I'm most interested in is called Robin Williams, Come Inside My Mind. I've heard that it is fantastic. I'm not sure exactly what different parts of Robin's career it's going to focus on. If it's his early life, it's later in life, his entire career. I want to see all of it. I'm very excited about that documentary. There's also one on Studio 54 that I think would be pretty cool to check out too. So Studio 54 and Robin Williams. I just got 1978 on my mind, Perri. What are you looking forward to?
I've got 3 in my mind, and what I tried to look up and failed to do is the proper title for the Mr. Rogers documentary, which I hear just the greatest things about. I'm dying to see that one. Another one is one we talked about yesterday, Hereditary, starring Toni Collette. I'm really excited excited to see what that's all about because that trailer really freaked me out. And then the other one is Summer of '84. Have any of you ever seen Turbo Kid? Turbo Kid is a ton of fun, and it's a directing trio called RKSS, and Summer of '84 is their new movie that they premiered at Sundance, which I believe premiered 2 or 3 years after Turbo Kid did. So while we wait for Summer of '84, go check out Turbo Kid.
Summer of '84. I bet there's a good soundtrack involved there. Dennis, you got anything on your Sundance radar?
I mean, I only followed it loosely, and then there's been a lot of talk about a movie called 8th Grade, and it's about this girl in her final weeks of middle school and before she heads to high school. So it's just kind of that in-between stage of your life where you're about to be into the teenage world, but you're still kind of have a lot of that child-like stuff behind.
Unfortunately for me, I'm pretty sure that the modern era of Mark Ellis began in 8th grade, and it's continued on for the better part of 20 years. John Rocha, what movie from Sundance are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm also a massive fan. You guys know biopics, but documentary biopics are great as well. You mentioned the one that you mentioned. Hal Ashby is the one I'm looking for. Hal. It's called Hal. It's only 90 minutes. I wish it was a 2. I think when you do these kinds of directors who are so influential to 70s cinema and the way he died, and people who are from that era still talk about his films, influenced them. Harold and Maude, Shampoo, Coming Home, which was this incredible Vietnam movie with John Voight and Jane Fonda, Being There, Peter Sellers' last incredible performance before he passed. So much. And then he dies, and he dies in a way that he's a young man. And so there's so many directors who are successful from the 70s who cite Hal Ashby as an influence to them. Even The Last Detail, the Jack Nicholson film he did, is kind of related to the Richard Linklater film that just came out that I interviewed him for here at Collider. So that's the one I'm looking, because I just love these documentaries. I just wish it was longer than 90 minutes. I don't think it's enough time.
Peter Sellers robbed for an Oscar for being there, in my humble opinion. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode and this week of Collider Movie Talk. Quickly, before we're out of time, I want to throw it to everybody in the panel to say where you can find them. And when you say where you can be found, also let us know what your prediction for the Super Bowl is. If you want to give a score, I'm going to give one. You can just say the team you think is going to win. Dennis, then start over there with you.
I'm hoping the Patriots lose. I'm going for the Eagles. I know they're underdogs. You can find me on Twitter @ThinkHero and on Instagram Dennis.tzng.
Perri Nemiroff, who are you rooting for? Who's going to win?
I will likely be rooting for underdogs in most games I watch, so I'm going with the Eagles. You can watch me play Mario Kart alone on Instagram @PNemiroff if you want, because someone doesn't like Mario Kart.
Who could that someone be, John Rocha?
I didn't say I don't like it.
Actually, you did.
You can find, no, I didn't say I don't like it. I did not say I don't like Mario Kart. I said I don't like the idea of a movie.
You kind of acted like you had never heard of it.
Of course. Princess Buttercup. No, you can find me @The Rocha Says. I just dropped a new episode of Outlaw Nation yesterday with Gray Drake talking the 2018 Oscar noms. And today, Steve Morris, welcome our friend Catherine Cobbs to talk Big Trouble in Little China. We shook the pillars of heaven, didn't we, Wang? So listen to that on the SK Plus podcast channel. A lot of fun. Eagles 35-21. Patriots, you ain't escaping this time. You should have lost 2 of those Super Bowls already to the Falcons and to the Seahawks. The Eagles ain't going to let you off the hook this time.
All right, look, my grandma, who's the better part of 90 years old, has been a lifelong Eagles fan. I am rooting for you, Philadelphia Eagles, all the way, and it really pains me to say that as a Skins fan, but yes. I think the Patriots are going to win. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to mirror the Jacksonville game where the Eagles are going to come out with a great game plan. Then there's going to be some halftime adjustments. You give Bill Belichick the better part of 45 minutes to prepare a game plan for the second half. He's going to outcoach whoever he's going up against. Sorry, Doug Peterson. That's a fact. So I think the Patriots are going to come out on top. I think the final score is going to be 31-26 is my final score. Go Eagles, fly, whatever y'all talk about. I think the Patriots are going to win. I'm at Mark Ellis Live. You can send your playoff prediction hate my way. Thank you guys for tuning in to Collider Movie Talk for our incredible production crew, which today consists of Cody Hall and Cobster. Miss Adam Smith, we'll see you real soon next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the big game. Hey, everybody. Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.